Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Marxist Voice. I'm your host for tonight, Adam Booth, the editor of Socialist.net. And tonight we're going to be discussing in a minute again with Rob Sewell, editor of Socialist Appeal, who we spoke to last week about the election of Keir Starmer as Labour leader. And what a week it's been in terms of the developments inside the Labour Party. Tonight, obviously, all of the attention has to be on one thing only, which is the leaked report that came out yesterday, a bit of an Easter egg for Labour members on the left, which reveals all sorts of quite shocking and scandalous events and episodes that have taken place inside Labour HQ amongst Corbyn opponents. So in a minute, we're going to have Rob on the line to discuss the contents of this report and what it tells us about recent events, about the last few years inside the Labour Party. Just a reminder that this is a live broadcast, so if you're watching at home on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, then please send in your comments. We'll be able to see them, and we should have time towards the end of the programme to take some of those comments and questions for Rob. So in the meantime, I'll just get Rob on the line. Hello, Rob. Are you okay there?
Hi,
Hi
yes,
there.
fine, thanks.
How you
Yeah,
doing? You staying safe and healthy since last week
yes, very safe, very healthy, very good.
in quarantine? Well, as I just said to the viewers just now, um, last week we spoke about obviously the election of Keir Starmer, and it's been quite an eventful week since then in terms of what Starmer's done as Labour leader already. And in particular, we see now this new report that's been leaked outlining events that have taken place inside the Labour Party headquarters over the last few years under Corbyn's leadership, and in particular under the General Secretary of Ian McNicol. And the report, I'm sure many people will have already either read it or seen the summary, but just to summarize for readers, it discusses all sorts of scandalous things about sabotage against Corbyn, disdain and contempt towards left wing members. It talks about factionalism getting in the way of proper judicial processes and all sorts of other things, and in particular, the sabotage of the 2017 Labour election campaign. Now, do you think, as shocking as all these events are, do you think any of this will actually come as a surprise to Labour activists who've experienced a lot of these things firsthand over the last few years?
Well, I think the report itself has been described as a bit of a bombshell. I think that's true. It's over 800 pages of detailed forensic points about what has been happening in the past period. I managed to read half of it, and I was quite, taken aback as to the way in which this cabal in Labour headquarters was able to run the show and carry through such an abominable an attack on Corbyn, Labour democracy, and the ranks of the Labour Party. They got away with murder, basically. I mean, it just shows. I mean, after the election of Starmer as leader, but how events are starting to accelerate. We're in a period of sharp and sudden changes in the situation. This is very sharp. And I think it's, although many people I would have thought understood that there was certainly a campaign against Corbyn that was pretty self-evident over the last period, a vicious campaign to get rid of him, backed by the ruling class and the Blairites in the Parliamentary Labour Party. But also the machine itself was a part of this apparatus, a part of this campaign. And they have their own particular culture and their own vindictiveness, I would say. And they wanted to remain independent of the rank and file, independent of the Labour Party, and operate as a Blairite wing of counter-revolution in the Labour Party, for want of a better expression. And what they did was to create mayhem, really, in undermining Jeremy Corbyn at every single step of the way, of trying to block every move to the left, and above all to try and paralyse the rank and file of the Labour Party. They knew it was they knew that the Corbyn victory was a huge calamity for them, really, because these people had been brought up in the Blair years, and they were older, as defenders of the establishment in the Labour Party, particularly McNichol and company, and they saw their mission as to try and hold the line as best as possible, discredit Corbyn as much as possible, in order to prepare the way for a counter-revolution in the Labour Party at a certain stage. So the whole thing was really obnoxious, where they, comparing Corbyn to Adolf Hitler, that people were, the rank and file were nutcases, and don't deserve the term. They were trots, Everybody to the left apparently of Gordon Brown was a trot. It's quite interesting, the reason why they use this terminology. Many of these people came from Labour students, which were very vindictive, against militant and Marxists, and therefore everybody was a trot and an opponent of the establishment. And they waged a bitter internal war, where they were engaged in the most heinous of crimes, inventing cases, inventing evidence and so on to frame people. This is the statement. You've got a frame-up regime in this way. They even, joked that they were creating a Stasi within the Labour Party. They were joking about it, but it shows the type of mentality these people had. They had no appreciation, or they had utter contempt for the rank and file, the working class, and all they were interested in is maintaining the regime and the position of the Blairites, in effect, in the Labour Party. And this was the cutting edge of the Blairite counter-revolution, or attempted counter-revolution, within the Labour Party itself. So they did colossal, unbelievable damage, really, and prepared the ground to what we have at the present moment. And it's a scandal, and we should never let them get away with it. There are those people who say, well, leave the Labour Party, I'm fed up. And so this is the time to get stuck in. These people have done enormous damage to the working class, to the Labour movement, even the prospects of a Labour government. They sabotaged from internally, and therefore they have a real cost to pay. But it's an indication that the Labour Party was not a separate thing. It was a party built by the working class, but there were trends in it. They were fighting, and the ruling class had control of the Labour Party, and they lost it in 2015 with the election of Corbyn, and then they were desperate to maintain control. So they went on a frenzy, if you like, in chopping people off, cutting them off. Members were expelled, members were suspended on the least excuse. They didn't care, because right-wingers were allowed to come in, and everything was gracious as far as they were concerned. So it was an internal civil war.
Rob, it wasn't just confined to the party bureaucracy, was it? Because you had Jess Phillips, who stood for Labour leader recently, and she, under Corbyn, was threatening to stab him in the front. So this kind of language of harassment, of sabotage, it was endemic across the whole of the right wing of the party, from the PLP through to the Labour HQ. And I get the impression that a lot of members knew that this stuff was going on. I mean, you mentioned there the accusation, the evidence, actually, that they were actively sabotaging the 2017 general election campaign, pouring resources towards safe seats held by right-wingers, diverting party funds, and Ian Lavery has rightly asked, who was signing off on these checks. I remember at the time a lot of rumours coming out about this. So presumably members will feel vindicated that all of our suspicions that was this kind of conspiracy, if you like, this cabal, as you put it, a lot of people will feel vindicated now that there was this active, a campaign on the part of the Labour establishment, the Labour grandees, and this bureaucracy, this apparatus, to try and thwart not only Corbyn, but the whole of the Labour. And that sounds to me like an expellable offence. I mean, to campaign against Labour, effectively, they were doing the dirty work of the Tory party.
These people represent the interests of the ruling class, of big business, of the Tories, of the establishment in the Labour Party. they are ruthless in what they're prepared to do. That's what's clear about it. And it's linked to all these types. Even Tom Watson, who's the deputy leader of the Labour Party, he was linked to these individuals, and there were discussions with him that Corbyn was going to be pushed out. He was going to be removed. And therefore, Tom, you're going to prepare yourself to become the leader of the Labour Party. And he made a number of leaks as well. You know, they were feeding him information. It says in the report they would feed Tom Watson information. It would be leaked out, you know, whenever it was convenient. This is a conspiracy going on there at every single level, right up to the deputy leader of the Labour Party. That's the point about it. And of course, they are prepared to, as I said, not just to leak. I mean, Watson received £500,000, you know, from Eccleston, you know, in order to keep the Labour Party as a safe haven for capitalism. Basically, they poured in money, resources. It was a party within a party. They talk about entrism and all the rest, and Trotsky said, "What a load of baloney! These are the real interests. They're the interests of capitalism, of the Tories, who represent their interests." And they subverted, attempted and do subvert the Labour Party because of that. And that's why it's a war, you know, in my opinion. You can't pussyfoot around with these people. And yes, I think a lot of people knew what was going on for a long period of time. Why is this report being produced now? I want to know.
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. What I mean is, do you think that this report, in its timing, is coincidental? I mean, it's come out just a week after the Labour leadership result, with Keir Starmer, who obviously is not the continuity Corbyn candidate, if you like. He's clearly backed by the establishment. He's threatened a scorched earth policy, you know, and in particular the people behind him who are backing him, the Labour First, Progress, they want to obviously eliminate any remnants of the Corbyn movement inside the party apparatus and more widely in the party. So do you think there's do you think it's linked then, the leaking of this report, to, is it a kind of defensive measure, if you like, against this attempt to get rid of Corbyn's allies in the party?
I think so. They've been lined up for a purge, no doubt about it, and therefore, as a self-defense mechanism, they've attempted to defend themselves and leave with honour and so on. Which and they've exposed everything in the process. Unfortunately, this has come at this time. It should have come out a long time ago. Should have come after, you know, 2017, for instance. There's lots of information here. It goes back a long way. They knew what was going on, and they certainly could have brought it to the attention not only of the NEC but also of the Labour Party rank and file itself, and shown what was taking place, the sabotage that was taking place. But it was kept quiet. And I think the reason for that is the very nature. I mean, you've got Jeremy Corbyn. He's a very nice man and so on, but they're a bit too nice, I suppose. You know, insofar as John McDonnell's the same, and others. They try to prevent the split and a division, too much of a division. If only they could hold the thing together, then they could have a Labour victory. That was the idea, which is a false premise, by the way, because these people would never ever give up, and you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, you know, and they see every form of concession as a weakness, and they'll go for more and more and more, which they have done. And as a consequence, we end up in the mess that we've had at the present time, the way they forced through not just the defeat of the election, they welcome, by the way, the defeat of Labour. These people who are supposed to be employed with the Labour Party were openly talking about how wonderful it would be for a defeat of Corbyn at a general election, because it would mean you would be removed. They were talking about how they would vote against Labour, which is an expellable offence. They talked about, I mean, they told these different people on internet and so on about, and people made comments that certain MPs were traitors, and they were expelled for that or suspended by very people who were traitors. That's the point about it. These people are definitely traitors in the Labour movement, and they should be treated as such. And if we don't treat them as such, then there's something really wrong if we can't rise to the occasion. You know, when they spit in our face, we shouldn't just wipe it off and think, oh, never mind. You know, it's about time the Labour left went on the offensive, and the character of the Labour left has been, unfortunately, quite a compromising, weak response to the vicious attacks of the right wing all the way along the line. I mentioned Jess Phillips, but they're all the same. You know, Margaret Hodge and all the others denouncing Corbyn and so on. And now we can see what happened. It was a deliberate conspiracy in order, not to expel people who had anti-Semitic views in the Labour Party and deal with them, because if they didn't, if they let it go on and on and on, it would mean that Corbyn would be blamed for it, and that's what it is. All this is a blame game on Corbyn. All this stuff. So what happened? Jewish Chronicle said today, oh well, no, you can't trust the report. And the people are saying, no, you be careful. In other words, they're trying to backtrack altogether. It shows exactly what the score is. The Corbyn and company tried to deal with this problem, although it was over-exaggerated, it is true, but nevertheless, but they were thwarted by Nick McNichol, who then became a lord, and others of that nature, who deliberately sabotaged the campaign in order to discredit Corbyn. This is absolutely unbelievable stuff. This is incredible stuff. And if we don't rise to the occasion, there's something damn wrong here, because a lot of people put time and effort into the Labour Party and trying to change the Labour Party. Yes. I believe so. Where is he? What has he said? In reality, this is the most shocking revelation that I can remember in my 55 years of membership of the Labour Party, and they're pretty silent about it. Oh, we have to be careful and all the rest of it, it's an indication of the right wing a bit on the back foot about these revelations. Point one.
Sorry, Rob. Just to stop you for a second. We had a cut out of the mic there for a second. And I just want to reassure the viewers at home. The question was, to anyone who missed it, it was, will the events of the last week have shattered the illusions in the idea of unity in the party under Keir Starmer? So apologies to anyone who missed that technical problem here. Sorry, Rob, you were saying.
Yeah, so look, we're all in favour of unity, but unity on a proper basis. How can you have unity with people who are stabbing you in the back, left, right, and centre? It's ludicrous, and therefore we should have, if you like, define the Labour Party, because it's true that Keir Starmer won the election as a unity candidate, and he put forward some, that he was in favour of the left in many, many ways, and so on and so forth. People kind of went along with it because they were sick and tired of what had been happening. And unfortunately, the left didn't come out clearly in a clear way to explain what was happening. And we could see the result of it, that in effect, that Starmer is the candidate of the ruling class, and as an attempt to regain control of the Labour Party, putting the right wing back in charge, not only in the parliamentary Labour Party, but as many places he can. In other words, restoring the Labour Party as a party in the safe hands of capitalism, who did the bidding of capitalism, and so on and so forth. And hundreds of thousands of people joined the Labour not because of that. On the contrary, to make it represent the interests of working class people. Well, the battle is now on for the soul of the Labour Party in reality once again. And I don't think we should give up. The right wing never gave up. They were determined, and they had the backing of the ruling class. But we also should not give up. So now's the time not to run away from a battle, but to join the battle. And with this information, I think that there should be, a hell of a movement in the constituencies. It should enliven people to think, yes, it's time. We were vindicated, or we were conned. That's the other thing as well. They felt that they were misled, and soothed over. And now's the time to bring things out, to tell the truth to people, bring it in a clear way to people. That in effect, the Labour Party, has been, yes, this coalition, but you had the right wing who were on the defensive since 2015. But now they've become more on attempting to regain, if you like, their control of the Labour Party by destroying, first of all, Corbyn, as they see it, Corbynism, and the left of the Labour Party. They said it. They even discussed, banning Momentum, expel everybody from Momentum. That's will be 50,000 gone. I mean, these people are ruthless once they get control of the situation. Unfortunately, the lefts are a bit soft, you could say, very soft.
Well, I mean, that's a good point to talk about there, Rob, this softness, because as you mentioned a minute ago, this report has obviously been leaked for a reason now, but the perfect time would have been to leak this, during the time that Corbyn was still leader, when the left was in control. And do you think that was purposely avoided? Were the leadership and the left leaders, were they trying to avoid this kind of civil war? Were they trying to compromise or appease these people and these gangsters who clearly didn't show any kind of peace offering of their own on the other side?
Yeah, besides, there was an attempt on the left's, what we call left reformers, and because they try to they think that the way forward is to patch up capitalism, go back to a nicer form of capitalism, a kind of smiley face capitalism, which doesn't exist. It's a utopian dream. We got the deepest crisis of capitalism in the history of capitalism. Now's the time for socialism and socialist ideas, precisely. But the point is, the lefts have always attempted to underestimate, the situation, and attempted to compromise with the right wing. They've always talked about the broad church. Well, even a church has certain walls and certain demarcation. And the Blairites are a capitalist element, if you like, or organised element within the Labour Party, in order to take back control of the Labour Party for capitalism. And Corbyn represented the wishes of working class people to regain control of the Labour Party for a new society, a new future. But ideas are very important, but you have to have the determination to carry them through as well. And we have to realise who the enemy is, and we have to be clear. There's no point in prettifying the situation, because you'll end up in a mess. And we should say things as they are. And these people are the Blairites in the Parliamentary Labour Party, in HQ, not in HQ, also in the regions and so on. They are the Trojan horse of Tories. They are the Trojan horse of capitalism within the Labour Party. And that our task must be to get the Trojan horse out and to make the Labour Party a real fighting socialist party in the interest of the working class. And we had a chance to do that, but unfortunately, the lefts they fell down on carrying things through to the logical conclusion. They could have released this information a long time ago, 2017, and they could have then gone for democratizing the party. We're not asking for the moon here. We're not asking for for a great deal. All we're saying is, surely we should democratize the Labour Party, to give the Labour Party membership control over those and choose those who represent the party. After all, the ranks do the work, after all. And surely that's all it's all about. And it's not a monstrous Bolshevik demand, in my opinion, to ask for MPs to be selected on a regular basis of the Labour Party, and that will give the Labour Party members greater control, because the problem we haven't got this control, we have these MPs who are out of control, who see it as jobs for life, a career for life, They want to make the Labour Party safe for capitalism, and they've got away with murder. And every attempt that the rank and file has got to try and change things, they have waded in with boots and all. They don't mess about. With the right wing of, look at Starmer now. I guess 99% of his shadow camp is the right wing, openly right wing, or middle of the road right wing is 1% maybe of the left. This goes to show where where he's really leading, and I think there's a wake-up call here for a lot of rank and file members. They've been conned about where things are where they're being led, but we've got to explain things as they are, warts and all, and say this is unfortunately this is not the solution. This is a major problem that we've got in this compromising has allowed them to get away with murder, has allowed them to overthrow to a large extent the Corbyn project, but not fully. Well, we had a mass membership still there, and that's the danger. And as Blair said, we have to get rid of the mass membership if you're going to reclaim the Labour Party. That's a bit tougher altogether to do. But so this has now reignited the movement.
Well, exactly. This has really been incendiary in terms of, you can see the anger and the members are livid, and all the WhatsApp groups, the Facebook groups, they're all alive right now with people asking what to do, because as you say, we should have released this report. The left should have been able to get their hands on this report and this information years ago. Better late than never, I would say, in the sense that at least we know now the reality and have the confirmation of what we've always suspected. But what should we do with this information now that we've got it? What should the left be doing? John McDonnell, Jeremy Corbyn, Richard Bergen, Ian Lavery, and the rest of the Socialist campaign group of MPs, and left activists who are looking for some sort of leadership, some sort of way forward when we're stuck at home. What can we be doing now and going forwards to carry out that transformation, to see justice against these saboteurs?
Yes, well, I think they have to seize the moment, and this belated release, nevertheless, it's released. We should not allow this to be buried. We should see this as well, in my opinion, it's a threat to the democratic rights of every single member of the Labour Party. It's a disgrace. We had a coup being organised in the very heart of the Labour Party, together with the Parliamentary Labour Party. And it's about time we wake up to the situation and take action in order to eliminate this. Now, it's obviously there are difficulties in this lockdown period, but certainly, first of all, we're not going to allow this report to be buried. This, there are comrades who said, well, perhaps you should have an inquiry. This inquiry is already taking place, as far as I can see. Here's all the evidence. You don't need any more than this. But this should be discussed, and all the implications should be discussed out in the Labour Party itself. Of course, many of the parties are locked down at the moment. We should try and have online CLP meetings if it is possible. We need to get the information out there to Labour Party members. I think John McDonnell and the other left should start banging the drum about this. Don't let it be allowed to lay and pushed into the background. They should bang the drum. This is the most important question facing the working class movement of this country for a long period of time. We knew it was coming. It's about time we faced up to what needs to be done now. Better late than never, it is true, but bloody let's get on with it.
Definitely.
It raises the question that the Labour Party conference, whenever it takes, should be called as soon as possible, whenever it's practically possible. There should be one item on the agenda. This report should be on the agenda, and what conclusions must be drawn from it, organisation and political, because this is the very heart of the Labour Party. What kind of Labour Party do we want? It raises the question of Clause 4, socialism, all these things, as well as, I think, full democratic rights for the membership of the Labour Party. Or who elected, this Ian McNicol? He was the NEC of the Labour. Who appointed these people? The NEC. Or they're appointed by the appointees themselves. We should demand that every single senior post in the Labour Party be elected by the rank and file, and that they are accountable to the rank and file, that they can be recalled if they mess up. That's what we should have in the constitution of the Labour Party: regular elections of full-time officials under the control of the Labour Party, as should be the case in the trade union movement, as a matter of fact. I think we should have also that open selection should be brought in, what I call automatic reselection of MPs and of councillors. It's a democratic thing, for God's sake. The members of the rank. What argument is going to use against this? Oh, well, it's a distraction. Well, isn't this a bloody distraction? Mm-hmm. Isn't this a conspiracy against every democratic right of the movement? Let's not fudge this question. They should bring back open selection immediately, in order to not just the MPs, but councillors, so we can control our representatives. So they don't go around saying we're going to stab the leader in the Labour Party, or we're going to burn the Labour Party and hang him and all the rest. I mean, it's absolutely incredible stuff that's been going on. They've got away with murder, and it's about time we stopped it in all forms. I think we should get rid of careerism from the Labour Party. Why shouldn't every MP be on the average wage of a skilled worker? What's that, about 35 grand instead of 80 odd grand plus expenses? Let's get down to the working class. We're supposed to be a working class party, represent the working people. We'll start living like working people. And if you can fight to better the working class living standards, you'll better your own living standards. And that same goes for the trade union movement itself. We should also reinstate. Sorry?
I was just going to say, what would you say then to activists right now, in the sense of, last week and on the back of this, we have seen some people saying, to hell with this. I'm leaving the Labour Party. I'm disgusted by this. An understandable outrage against Starmer and against all of this bureaucratic layer in the Labour Party. What would you say to activists in the Labour Party right now, in terms of what should we be doing, basically?
I say, look, comrades, let's not desert the fight prematurely. What else? What is there? And the Labour Party is the central organisation of the working class, whether you like it or not, in Britain. And the fight is to be fought. And unfortunately, we lost the battle, but we haven't lost the war yet by any stretch of the imagination. There's going to be big upheavals in Britain in the coming period. Look at the economic crisis as an indication. Apparently, it's going to be deeper than the 1929-33 crisis in Britain. It's going to raise sharp questions about which way forward, what policies need to be hammered out, which way, and what position. What is the Labour Party going to be, a socialist party or a pro-capitalist party? And therefore, we've got to put demands, yes, that all the leaders of the Labour Party are in line with the wishes of the rank and file of the Labour Party itself. That's why I call for automatic reselection. That's why I call for a workers' MP on a workers' wage. That's why, and this means every person who's been denied or suspended or expelled from the Labour Party in the last 3 or 4 years, they should be allowed to come back in. At least their cases should be immediately reviewed. If it's political, they should be immediately restored. Their membership should be immediately restored. And therefore, we have to, get a grip of ourselves, get a grip of the party. You can't do it by just abandoning ship, how many times has the trade union labour movement been involved in defeats and setbacks? Quite a lot, I would tell you, quite a lot. But if you all give up the ghost, then we'll be in a real pickle. About time we grew some muscles here, some stamina, and realise that the struggle is not a 2-minute phase. It'll take a bit of time, but the events are moving in our direction. Capitalism can't deliver the goods anymore. The Blairite position, which is a political position, is to defend capitalism. Capitalism is in crisis. Capitalism cannot deliver any more reforms on any sustained basis, and therefore shows the weakness of the ideas that they put forward. We have to put bold socialist policies forward. Reclaim Clause 4. Not patch up capitalism, but overthrow capitalism. To hell with capitalism. If it can't deliver a decent living standard for ordinary working people, well, to hell with it. And that's what the Labour movement, that's what the pioneers of our movement always fought for. And that's why we say it should be common ownership of the means production. The big giant firms, the monopolies and banks and insurance companies should be taken over under workers' control and management. Yes, this is where the democracy comes in. And planning the resources, interests of the majority of people, not private profit of a people. That's what the pioneers of the labour movement really had in their hearts, and we've got to put it into practice now. And that's why we shouldn't abandon the struggle in the Labour Party. We should step up the fight in the Labour Party and the fight to transform the unions as well, by the way, to make them more reflective of the working class. It's a battle for the soul of the labour movement, of the working class. This is not like the last 20 years or last 30 years. This is a period of devastating economic and political crisis in Britain. And it's going to shake everybody up. And we've got Marxism, that's the great value of Marxism, understands what's going on, the laws of, understands it is a class struggle, the material interests of society, and so on and so forth. And that the only way forward is not to patch up a system which cannot be patched up, but to do away with it. And we have the strength. The working class has never been stronger. It's the many and the few. That's the argument that's been put forward. Well, that's quite true. But we need a leadership and a program which is prepared to carry that through. And Marxism gives you a clear understanding. It provides a sort of backbone as far as the left is concerned. Gives us perspective of what can be achieved. And that's why we have to build the Marxist tendency in Britain, in the Labour Party, in the unions, in order that we can prepare the ground for what is coming. A huge colossus is coming, a huge movement is coming. And we've got to be prepared to give that leadership in a movement, not to pussyfoot around, as we've been doing in effect, but to carry the struggle all the way through to a conclusion. And that's what we're looking at. That's what Marxism talks about, nothing mystical about it. Learn from the past in order to give us an idea for the future, so we don't make the same mistakes of the future. We've made a lot of mistakes, and now it's about time we realize this is a crunch time. Therefore, these ideas of Marxism, very, very old ideas, are more relevant today than ever before. So I appeal to our readers, stay in the Labour Party, fight in the Labour Party, fight for those ideas, but join the Marxist tendency. Join us, join Socialist Appeal, to fight and build up a powerful Marxist tendency in the Labour Party that can fight for a genuine programme, that can eliminate capitalism, that won't sort of compromise its position, but will fight in order to carry through the real historical mission of the working class, that is to change society.
Thank you very much, Rob. I think that's an excellent place to end for tonight. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you again soon, probably to discuss more explosive events inside the Labour Party, in the world economy, and generally, the radical revolutionary period that we're living through. So thank you for all your comments and your thoughts. Stay safe and healthy. We'll see you again soon. Thanks very much.
Okay.
And just a reminder, obviously, to everyone at home, as Rob said, please do join us in the fight for socialism. Visit socialist.net/join to get in touch if you're interested in becoming part of the Marxist tendency inside the labour movement. And of course, also while you're there, donate and subscribe to help support us in the struggle for socialism. And follow all our social media channels if you're not already, so that you get the next episode of Marxist Voice directly into your notifications. Like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is, in order to help us build up our reach and get these socialist ideas out there to more and more people. We'll be back sometime soon. I can't say exactly when right now. Later in the week, I'll be doing an interview for our sister channel, IMTV, with Adam Pal from Pakistan about the situation with the COVID-19 pandemic in the Indian subcontinent. On Thursday, our comrades in the Marxist Student Federation will be continuing their series on historical revolutions. I believe this one is on the Cuban Revolution this Thursday. And again, that will be live streamed on Socialist Appeal's Facebook and YouTube. So tune in then for your weekly dose of history and theory. I'll be back with Marxist Voice again soon to interview more figures from the labour movement, more writers from Socialist Appeal. In the meantime, as I say, visit socialist.net for articles, analysis, videos, and plenty more. We'll see you soon.